Somewhere out there, among the countless points of light scattered across the dark, there may once have been others, worlds that woke, that wondered, that looked up at their own night skies and asked the same quiet questions you are asking now. Tonight we drift gently through a strange and tender possibility that the universe is not empty but haunted, full of silence where voices used to be. There is nothing to fear here, only wonder to rest inside. If this journey brings you calm, a soft like and subscribe helps other quiet minds find their way here too. And before you settle in, tell me softly where you are listening from and what hour glows on your clock tonight. Let the night gather around you for a moment. Wherever you are resting now, in a bed or on a couch, in a room that has slowly grown dim as the evening settled, there is a ceiling above you. And above that ceiling there is a roof. And above that roof there is the open sky. You cannot see it from where you lie, but it is there, the way it has always been there, patient and enormous and waiting. Tonight we are going to travel upward into that sky together, slowly and without any hurry at all, and we are going to consider something gentle and strange. So before we begin, let your body grow a little heavier where it rests. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Let the small muscles around your eyes soften, and let your breath lengthen, just slightly, the way breath does when sleep begins to feel close. There is no need to hold on to anything here. There is nothing to solve and nothing to fear. There is only the slow unfolding of a wonder, and you are welcome simply to drift along beside it. Imagine then that the roof above you has quietly dissolved, and you are looking straight up into a clear and moonless night. The first thing you notice is the stars. Not the handful you might see from a city washed pale by streetlights, but the full and uncrowded sky as it appears from a dark and distant place, far from any town. There, the stars are not scattered. They are heaped. They pour across the darkness in their thousands, and between the brightest of them lie fainter ones, and between those lie fainter ones still, until the black spaces themselves seem to shimmer with the suggestion of more light just beyond the edge of seeing. Every one of those points of light is a sun. This is the first quiet truth to rest inside tonight. Each tiny spark you can see is not a decoration on a dome, but a star, a vast burning sphere of fire, many of them far larger than our own. They look small only because they are unimaginably far away. The light arriving at your eye from some of them has been traveling for centuries, crossing the dark at the fastest speed anything can travel, and it has only now reached you. Only tonight, only at this exact moment as you lie here breathing slowly in the dark. Let that settle. The light touching your eyes is old. Some of it left its star before you were born. Some of it left before your grandparents were born. And some of it began its journey before there were any people at all to look up and wonder. Now let us widen the view, gently, the way you might let your gaze relax and take in a whole landscape rather than a single tree. All of those stars you can see, every last one of them, belong to a single great wheel of light called the Milky Way. It is our galaxy, our home, the island of stars we live within. And here is where the numbers begin to grow soft and dreamlike, the way numbers do when they become too large for the ordinary mind to hold. Our galaxy does not contain thousands of stars. It does not contain millions. Our galaxy contains somewhere between 100 billion and 400 billion stars. Try for just a moment to feel the size of that. If you were to count the stars in the Milky Way, one at a time, naming one every single second, never sleeping, never stopping, never pausing to rest, it would take you thousands of years to finish. You would count through the rise and fall of empires. You would count through the lifetimes of countless generations. And still the stars would not run out. And nearly all of them, we now know, carry worlds. This is something humanity only learned recently. For most of our history, we could only guess whether other stars had planets circling them, the way our sun has its family of planets. We hoped, we imagined, but we did not know. And then, within the span of a single human lifetime, our instruments grew sharp enough to find them, these distant worlds, by the faint and patient signs they leave. A tiny dimming of a star as a planet passes in front of it, a gentle wobble in a star's motion as an unseen world tugs upon it. One by one, then by the hundreds, then by the thousands, the planets appeared in our data, and the conclusion became impossible to avoid. Planets are not rare, planets are everywhere. Most stars, it seems, hold worlds of their own, and many hold several, just as our sun does. So, when you look up at that crowded heap of stars tonight, you are not only looking at suns, you are looking at suns surrounded by worlds, rocky worlds and icy worlds, and worlds wrapped in storms, worlds with rings and worlds with many moons, worlds we will never see and never name. The sky is not a field of fires, it is a field of places, countless places, most of them silent, most of them dark, but real, every one of them as real as the ground beneath your home. Breathe slowly. There is no urgency in any of this. These worlds have been waiting for billions of years. They will wait a little longer while you drift towards sleep. Now we are going to do something that may feel almost dizzying, and so we will do it gently, and you may let the feeling pass over you like a slow wave rather than gripping it. We have been speaking of our galaxy, the Milky Way, with its hundreds of billions of stars and its uncountable worlds. But our galaxy is not alone. It is one galaxy among many. And the word many here is doing something it was never built to do, because the true number is so large that the word almost loses its meaning. The observable universe, the part of the cosmos whose light has had time to reach us, contains not hundreds of galaxies, and not thousands, and not millions. It contains hundreds of billions of galaxies. Some careful estimates suggest the number may be as high as 2 trillion. And each one of those galaxies is itself a vast wheel or cloud or river of stars, many of them holding hundreds of billions of suns, just as ours does, and around those suns, again, the worlds. Let us try to hold this with an image rather than a number, because numbers this size slip through the fingers, but images can rest in the mind like a stone in still water. Imagine a single grain of sand. Picture it resting on the tip of your finger, so small you can barely feel its weight. Now imagine that this one grain of sand stands for our entire galaxy, all hundreds of billions of its stars, all of its countless worlds, the whole Milky Way reduced to a single speck. Then imagine all the grains of sand on a single beach. Then imagine all the grains of sand on every beach on Earth, and all the sand in every desert, every dune, every shore on the entire planet. There are, by careful reckoning, more galaxies in the observable universe than there are grains of sand on all the beaches and all the deserts of the world. And inside each of those grains, hundreds of billions of suns. And around those suns, the worlds, again and again and again, beyond any counting, beyond any imagining, fading off into a darkness so deep and so wide that the human mind can only stand at its edge and grow quiet. This is the universe you live in. Not a small place with a few lights in it, but an ocean of worlds so vast that the largest number you have ever heard is a whisper against it. And you, resting here in the dark, with your slow breath and your heavy limbs, are a part of it. You are made of the same atoms that burn in those distant suns. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the very carbon that holds your body together, all of it was forged inside stars that lived and died long before our sun was born, and then scattered across space, and then gathered again into this world, into this life, into the warm and breathing thing that you are tonight. You are not separate from that sky. You are a small, soft piece of it that has woken up and learned to wonder. So let us wonder gently as we drift, with so many worlds, more worlds than there are grains of sand on every shore of the earth, and with so much time, billions upon billions of years stretching out behind us. It seems almost impossible that ours should be the only world where something woke up. It seems almost impossible that in all that vastness, across all those countless places, life should have stirred only here, on this one quiet planet, and nowhere else at all. The numbers feel too large for that kind of loneliness. Surely somewhere among those uncountable worlds, other life took hold. Surely, on some of those worlds, that life grew complex, and then grew curious, and then grew clever, and then, one clear night on some far shore beneath some other sun, looked up at its own crowded sky and began to wonder, exactly as you are wondering now. If even the smallest fraction of those worlds gave rise to life, that would still be billions of living worlds. And if even the smallest fraction of those living worlds gave rise to minds, that would still be millions of thinking worlds. And if even a handful of those thinking worlds learned to build, to reach outward, to send their voices across the dark, then the galaxy should be full of those voices. The sky should be humming with them. After billions of years, with so many chances on so many worlds, the cosmos should be crowded, busy, alive with signals and signs and the quiet evidence of others. And here is the strange and gentle mystery we will carry into sleep tonight. When we listen, we hear nothing. For decades now, we have turned our great dishes toward the sky and listened patiently, carefully, sweeping across the frequencies, hoping for some whisper, some pattern, some signal that could only come from a mind. We have searched the light of distant stars for the faint chemical traces that life might leave. We have watched and waited and hoped. And so far, across all that listening, across all those countless worlds, the sky has stayed silent. No voice has answered. No clear sign has come. The great crowded universe, so full of suns and worlds and time, appears, when we listen closely, to be quiet. Do not let this trouble you. Let it rest in you instead as a question, soft and open, the kind of question you can fall asleep inside without ever needing to answer. We are not going to solve it tonight, not all at once, and there is no alarm in it. There is only a wonder so large that it can hold you the way the night holds the world. Because there are many possible reasons for that silence, and over the coming parts of our journey, we will drift slowly through them, one at a time, the way you might wander through the rooms of an old and beautiful house. Some of those reasons are tender, some are sobering, and some, perhaps the gentlest of all, suggest that the silence is not an ending, but a beginning, a quiet morning before the others wake. We will come to all of them in time. For now, simply hold the shape of the puzzle. So many worlds, so much time, and yet, so far, no answer in the dark. There is one possibility, though, that we will name tonight before you sleep, because it is the thought that gives this whole journey its name, and it is stranger and more moving than it first appears. It is this: perhaps the universe is not empty, perhaps it never was. Perhaps the silence we hear is not the silence of a cosmos where no one ever lived, but the silence of a cosmos where others lived, and woke, and wondered, and built, and reached, and then, for reasons we are only beginning to understand, fell quiet. Perhaps the great dark all around us is not empty space at all. Perhaps it is full of worlds that once held life, full of places where minds once looked up at their own night skies, full of the long, soft silence that comes after a voice has stopped speaking. Perhaps, when you look up at those countless stars, you are not looking at an empty house waiting to be filled. Perhaps you are looking at a house where many lamps were once lit in many distant windows, and have since, one by one, gone dark. The universe may be full not of company but of absence, full not of voices but of the echoes where voices used to be. A cosmos quietly haunted by all the others who came before, whose light still travels toward us across the dark long after they themselves have ended, the way the light of a star can still reach your eye centuries after the star itself has burned away. Let that image settle over you now, softly, the way a blanket settles when someone draws it gently to your shoulders. A universe that is not lonely because it is empty, but full in a way that feels almost tender, full of all the worlds that tried, all the minds that wondered, all the brief warm lives that flickered on far shores beneath far suns and then went still. We are not alone in such a universe. We are simply late. We are walking through the great quiet rooms after the others have gone, and the rooms are still warm, and the lamps have only just been put out. This is the wonder we will rest inside tonight. Not a fear, but a question shaped like the night itself. Whether the universe is empty because life is rare, or quiet because civilizations end, or simply still because we have arrived early, before the others have had their chance to speak. Whether we are the first to wake in a house still being built, or the last to wander through a house already lived in and left behind, you do not need to choose tonight. You do not need to understand it all. You only need to lie here, warm and breathing, a small piece of the universe that has woken up for a little while, and let the size of it all hold you gently as you drift towards sleep. The stars will keep burning whether you watch them or not. The distant worlds will keep turning in the dark, and the soft, vast silence will keep waiting, patient as it has always been, for as long as there is anyone left to wonder. So let your breath slow a little more. Let the weight of the day sink away from your shoulders and your back and your legs, down through the bed, down into the quiet. There is nothing you need to do now. There is only the sky and the worlds, and the gentle question we will carry forward together. For now, simply rest in the largeness of it. A universe of countless suns, a universe of uncountable worlds, a universe that should, by every reasonable measure, be crowded with voices, and yet stays, for now, so very quiet. And in that quiet, a possibility waiting to be explored. That the silence is not emptiness at all, that somewhere out there, scattered across that ocean of stars, there were others, and that we, lying here in the warm dark, may be sharing the universe with all the worlds that came before us, all the lives that have already drifted off into the long sleep we are only now beginning to approach ourselves. There is a story about a question, and it begins not in an observatory or a laboratory, but at lunch. It is a small and very human story, and it is worth telling slowly, because the question that came out of it has stayed with us ever since, quietly, the way the best questions do. It was the summer of 1950, in a place called Los Alamos, high in the mountains of New Mexico, where some of the most brilliant minds of that century had gathered to work. Among them was a physicist named Enrico Fermi, a man so gifted and so quick that his colleagues spoke of his thinking almost with awe. On this particular day, he was walking with a few other scientists toward the dining hall, and as they walked, they were talking idly, the way co-workers do, about the reports of strange lights in the sky that filled the newspapers in those years. The conversation was light. It drifted. By the time they sat down to eat, the subject had moved on to other things, and the talk had turned to ordinary matters. And then, in the middle of the meal, out of a silence, Fermi suddenly spoke. The story is that he looked up and asked, simply, "Where is everybody?" His companions understood at once what he meant, even though the conversation had moved far away from the sky. He was not asking about the people in the room. He was asking about the universe. He was asking why, in a cosmos so old and so large, so full of stars and time and possibility, we had never seen any sign of anyone else at all. The question seemed to come from nowhere, but it had clearly been turning over in his mind, and once he had spoken it aloud, it could not be unspoken. It hung in the air over the table, and it has been hanging in the air in one form or another ever since. Fermi never wrote a paper about it. He never made it his life's work. He died only a few years later, and the offhand question over lunch might easily have been forgotten. But it was not forgotten, because it touched something true and strange, and over the decades that followed, it grew into one of the deepest puzzles in all of science. Today we call it the Fermi Paradox, and it carries his name not because he answered it, but because he asked it so plainly, in so few words, that no one who heard it could quite let it go. Let us sit with the question the way Fermi did, gently, without alarm, the way you might turn a smooth stone over in your hand. Where is everybody? It sounds almost childlike in its simplicity, but underneath that simplicity lies a chain of reasoning so reasonable, so hard to argue with, that the more you follow it, the stranger the silence becomes. We have already felt the size of the universe together. We have stood beneath the heaped and crowded stars and let the numbers grow soft and dreamlike. Hundreds of billions of suns in our galaxy alone. Worlds around nearly all of them, hundreds of billions of galaxies beyond. But there is another vastness we have not yet touched, and it is just as important as the vastness of space. It is the vastness of time. Our galaxy is very, very old. It has been turning in the dark for more than 13 billion years. Our own sun, by comparison, is a relative newcomer, formed only about 4.5 billion years ago, when the galaxy was already more than half its present age. This means that for billions of years before our sun even existed, before the Earth had gathered itself together from dust, before there was any ocean here or any first stirring of life, the galaxy was already full of older stars and older worlds, many of them billions of years more ancient than our own. Hold those two vastnesses together now, space and time, and let the question begin to take its shape. If life can arise on a world, and if even a tiny fraction of those countless older worlds gave rise to it, then some of that life had billions of years to grow, to change, to become complex, to become curious, to become clever. Some of it had a head start on us so enormous that the numbers stopped meaning anything. While our world was still a barren rock, while life here was still nothing more than the simplest specks in a warm sea, other worlds may already have given rise to minds, and those minds may already have begun to reach outward into the dark. And here is the part of the reasoning that Fermi understood so quickly, the part that makes the silence so strange. You do not need to travel quickly to fill a galaxy. You only need patience. Let us walk through it slowly, because it is gentler than it sounds. Imagine a single civilization somewhere out in the galaxy, long ago. Imagine that it learns, eventually, to cross the space between the stars. Not quickly, not at any impossible speed. Imagine that its ships are slow, far slower than light, creeping from one star to the next over many human lifetimes. Imagine that it takes them thousands of years simply to reach the nearest neighboring sun. That sounds far too slow to matter. And yet, imagine that this civilization reaches one nearby star and settles there, and over time builds a new home, and then, after many centuries, sends out its own slow ships to the next stars beyond. And those new homes, in their turn, after their own long centuries, send out ships of their own. Each step is small, each journey is slow, but each settled world becomes a new starting point, and the reach grows outward in every direction at once, like the slow spreading of frost across a cold window, or ripples moving outward on still water, or the patient creep of a vine across a wall. When you follow that slow spreading through the mathematics, something remarkable appears. Even at a crawl, even with ships that take ages to cross the gaps between stars, a single patient civilization could spread across an entire galaxy in a span of time that sounds enormous to us, a few million years, perhaps tens of millions. And yet against the age of the galaxy, more than 13 billion years, a few tens of millions of years is almost nothing at all. It is the blink of an eye. It is a single afternoon in a life that has lasted decades. This is the heart of it. This is what Fermi saw. The galaxy is so old, and the spreading of life, even slow life, would be so comparatively quick that any civilization which arose even once, even a single time, even billions of years before us, should have had more than enough time to spread everywhere, to settle every region, to leave its mark on every corner of the sky. The galaxy should already be full. It should already be settled, crisscrossed, lived in. When we look up, we should see signs of others, not as a faint and distant hope, but as an obvious and unavoidable fact. The way a traveler arriving in a long inhabited land finds roads and lights and the clear marks of those who came before. And yet, here is the contrast, the quiet shock at the center of the whole question. We look up, and the sky is silent. We see no roads among the stars. We see no lights that should not be there. We listen across the frequencies and hear no voices. The galaxy that should, by every reasonable measure, be crowded and settled and humming with the activity of countless ancient civilizations, appears instead to be empty, still, and quiet, as though no one had ever passed this way at all. That is the paradox. Not a problem to be feared, but a genuine puzzle, a mismatch between what our reasoning tells us should be true and what our eyes and our instruments actually find. By all the logic we can muster, the cosmos should be full of company. By all the evidence we have gathered, it seems to be silent. Both things appear to be true at once, and they should not be able to be. That gap, that strange and quiet gap between expectation and observation, is the thing we are drifting through together tonight. Now, long before Fermi asked his question over lunch, and especially in the years afterward, people began to wonder whether they could do more than simply feel the strangeness of it. They wondered whether they could actually count, whether they could take this vague sense that the universe should be full of life and turn it into something more careful, more honest, a way of laying out exactly what would have to be true for another voice to reach us. And so, some years later, an astronomer named Frank Drake sat down and did something quietly beautiful. He was preparing for a small gathering of scientists who wanted to discuss the search for life beyond Earth, and he wanted to give them a way to organize their thinking. So he wrote down, on a single line, a kind of chain. Not a chain meant to give a final answer, for the honest truth is that we still do not know most of the numbers it requires. He meant it as a way of seeing clearly all the separate things that must each happen, one after another, for a signal from another world to arrive at our listening ear. We call it the Drake equation now, but it is less an equation in the cold sense and more a meditation, a way of counting our hopes one link at a time. Let us walk through that chain gently, not to do any arithmetic, but simply to feel the shape of it, the way you might trace a string of beads in the dark. It begins with the stars. How many new stars are born on average in our galaxy? This is the foundation, the raw soil from which everything else must grow, and it is the one part of the chain we understand fairly well. Stars are born steadily, generation after generation, and there is no shortage of them. Then the chain narrows, gently. Of all those stars, how many have planets? And here, as we have already felt together, the answer turns out to be wonderfully generous. Most stars, we now know, hold worlds. So far the chain holds strong, then it narrows again. Of all those worlds, how many lie in the right place? Neither too hot nor too cold, where the conditions might allow life as we understand it. Of all those worlds, how many in the gentle band where water could remain liquid, where the long, slow chemistry of living things might find a foothold? This is a smaller number, but still, across hundreds of billions of stars, it remains very large. And then comes the first of the great mysteries, the place where our confidence begins to soften into hope. Of all those suitable worlds, how many actually give rise to life? Not the conditions for life, but life itself, the first living thing, the first speck of something that grows and copies itself and begins the long story. We do not know this number. We know it happened here, at least once, on our own world. But whether it happens easily, on nearly every suitable world, or whether it is so rare that it has happened only once in all the cosmos, we cannot yet say. This is one of the deep places in the chain, where the path runs off into darkness and we cannot yet see the far side. And the chain narrows further still. Of all the worlds where life arises, how many give rise to life that becomes complex, that grows beyond the simplest forms into something rich and intricate? And of those, how many give rise to minds, to creatures that think and wonder and look up? And of those, how many give rise to civilizations that learn to send signals outward, that build the means to call across the dark? And then, the final and perhaps the most poignant link of all, of those civilizations that learn to speak, how long do they last? How long does the voice keep speaking before it falls silent? A year, a century, 1,000 years, a million. That last link is a quiet and tender one, and we will return to it again before our journey ends, because it holds within it some of the deepest of all the possibilities. For now, simply notice its presence at the end of the chain. It is not enough for a civilization to arise. It is not enough for it to learn to speak. For its voice to reach us, it must also still be speaking, or have been speaking, at just the right moment in the vast sweep of time, for its signal to be crossing our small corner of space right now, tonight, while we happen to be listening. When you hold the whole chain in your mind, all those links one after another, something gentle happens to the way you feel about the silence. You begin to see that for a voice to reach us, a great many things must all go right, one after another in a long, unbroken sequence. The star must form, the world must gather, the world must lie in the gentle band, life must arise, life must grow complex, complexity must become mind, mind must learn to reach outward, and the reaching must last long enough and fall at the right moment for its signal to find us here. Each link, on its own, may be common or may be rare, and the honest truth is that for several of them, we simply do not yet know, and that not knowing is not a failure. It is the shape of an open question, the kind of question that has room inside it for wonder rather than fear. Perhaps every link is easy, and the galaxy truly is full of voices, and the silence has some other gentle explanation we have not yet found. Or perhaps somewhere along that chain there is a link so difficult, a step so rare, that almost nothing ever passes through it, and that one narrow place is enough to account for the whole vast quiet of the sky. We are not going to decide tonight. We are only going to hold the two truths together the way we have been holding them all along, and let the strangeness of their meeting rock us gently towards sleep. On one side, the reasonable, almost unavoidable expectation, a universe this old and this large, with this many worlds and this much time, should be settled, should be crowded, should hum with the quiet evidence of others who came before. On the other side, the simple and patient observation. When we look, when we listen, we find stillness. We find a sky that keeps its silence. Fermi felt that gap over lunch all those years ago and named it with 4 small words. Where is everybody? And the question has outlived him and will likely outlive us, because it does not demand to be answered so much as it asks to be wondered at. It is a question shaped like the night itself, large enough to lie down inside. So let it lie beside you now, softly, as your breath grows slow and even. The great, crowded universe, so full of suns and worlds and time, and yet, when we listen, so very quiet. The expectation of company on one side, the reality of silence on the other, and in the space between them, a mystery wide enough to hold every gentle possibility we have not yet explored. We have named the paradox now. We have felt its shape and traced the chain of all the things that must go right for a voice to find us. But we have not yet asked what could possibly stand in the way. We have not yet wondered what single obstacle could be vast enough, total enough, to silence nearly every world that ever tried to speak. That question waits for us further along the path, and we will come to it gently in its own time. For now, there is only the silence, and it is not a frightening silence. It is the silence of a vast house at night, the kind of silence that settles over everything when the world has grown still and there is nothing left to do but rest. Let your shoulders soften once more. Let your breath lengthen. Let the question drift above you like the stars themselves, distant and patient, and in no hurry at all to be answered. Where is everybody? We do not know yet. And tonight, that not knowing can be a soft and open thing, a wide, dark room with plenty of space in it, for you to lie down and sleep. We left a question hanging in the dark at the end of our last drift together. We traced the long chain of all the things that must go right for a voice to reach us across the stars, link after link, from the birth of a star to the rise of a mind, to the lasting of that mind, long enough to call out into the night. And we wondered, softly, whether somewhere along that chain there might be a single link so difficult, a single step so rare, that almost nothing ever passes through it. Tonight we are going to sit with that thought a little longer, because it is one of the most elegant ideas anyone has ever offered to explain the great silence. And it has a name. It is called the Great Filter. Let the words settle over you gently, the way the name of a far country settles when you hear it for the first time. The Great Filter. There is nothing frightening in it. It is simply an idea, a way of thinking, and like the best ideas, it is beautifully simple at its heart. Here is the thought, laid out as plainly as it can be. Picture the entire road that leads from lifeless matter to a civilization that crosses the stars. It is a very long road. It begins with bare chemistry, with nothing but elements and energy, dust and warmth, on some young and barren world. And it ends, if it ends at all, with a flourishing civilization spreading outward among the suns. The kind of civilization whose presence we would surely notice if it existed. Between those 2 points, the bare beginning and the star-faring end, lies an immense distance, and along that distance there are many steps. Matter must become life. Life must become complex. Complexity must become mind. Mind must become a civilization, and that civilization must survive long enough and grow far enough to leave its mark upon the sky. Now, here is the elegant part. We look out at the universe, and we see that the far end of the road appears to be empty. We see no civilizations spreading among the stars. We hear no voices. The end of the road is silent. And so the idea of the Great Filter says very simply that somewhere along that long road there must be at least one step so difficult, so improbable, so rarely passed, that almost everything which starts the journey fails to complete it. Somewhere between the bare chemistry and the star-faring civilization, there is a barrier, a narrowing, a place where the path grows so thin that nearly everything that approaches it falls away into silence. That barrier is the filter, and it is great because it is powerful enough, on its own, to account for the emptiness of the entire sky. It is a single thought, and yet it reframes everything, because if there truly is such a barrier, then the most important question we could possibly ask becomes this: where along the road does it lie? And in particular, the question that matters most to us, lying here in the warm dark on this small living world, is this one. Is the filter behind us, or is it ahead of us? Let us hold both possibilities, slowly, one at a time, the way you might hold 2 smooth stones, one in each hand, feeling the weight of each. Consider first the gentler possibility that the filter lies behind us. Imagine that the great barrier, the nearly impossible step, is somewhere back along the road we have already traveled. Perhaps it was the very first step, the leap from lifeless chemistry to the first living thing, a step so staggeringly improbable that it has happened only a handful of times in all the cosmos, perhaps only once. Or perhaps it was some later step, some quiet threshold we crossed so long ago that we have forgotten it was ever difficult at all. If that is so, then we have already passed through the narrowest part of the road. The hardest thing is behind us. We are among the rare few, perhaps the rarest of the rare, who made it through. Feel for a moment what that would mean. It would mean that you, lying here, breathing slowly in the dark, are part of something almost unspeakably precious. It would mean that the chain of fortunate steps that led to your existence is so improbable that it may have completed itself only a vanishing number of times across the entire universe. It would mean that this world, this small blue world with its oceans and its forests and its sleeping cities, is one of the very few places where the long road was walked all the way to the rise of mind. We would not be ordinary at all. We would be a kind of miracle, a quiet survivor of a barrier that stopped almost everyone else, and the silence of the sky in that case would not be a warning. It would simply be the natural quiet of a universe in which the hardest step is so very hard that almost nothing ever takes it. There is a deep comfort in that possibility, and you are welcome to rest in it for a while. If the filter is behind us, then we have already survived the worst the road has to offer, and the long future is open before us, and the silence is not a threat, but only the measure of how rare and how fortunate we are. But now let us hold the other stone, the heavier one, and let us hold it gently, without fear, because there is wonder in it too, even though it is more sobering. Consider the other possibility, that the filter does not lie behind us at all, that we have not yet reached it, that the great barrier, the nearly impossible step, still lies somewhere ahead of us, on the road, waiting. What would it mean if that were so? It would mean that the silence of the sky is not the quiet of a road that is simply hard to begin. It would mean instead that countless others did begin the journey on countless worlds and walked the road just as we have walked it, through the rise of life and the rise of complexity and the rise of mind, all the way to civilizations much like our own, perhaps far beyond our own. And then, one after another, world after world, they reached the barrier that still lies ahead of us, and they did not pass through it. They fell silent there, every one of them, and the stillness we hear when we turn our great dishes toward the stars would be, in that case, the accumulated silence of all of them, all the worlds that came this far and went no further. If the filter is ahead, then the empty sky is a kind of message, though no one wrote it on purpose. It is a warning written not in words, but in absence. It would be telling us that the road we are walking, the road we are still walking right now, leads toward a narrowing that almost nothing survives. And we would not yet know what that narrowing is, or when we will reach it, or whether we are approaching it even now. Sit with that, but do not let it frighten you, because there is something important to notice, and it softens the whole thought considerably. Even in this heavier possibility, there is no certainty of doom. A barrier that stops almost everything is not the same as a barrier that stops everything. Some things, perhaps, pass through even the hardest narrowing, and more than that, we are the only travelers on this road who have ever been able to look ahead and wonder about the barrier at all. To see a danger, even dimly, even from far off, is already to hold the beginning of the power to avoid it. No other world's silence can tell us our own ending is written. It can only invite us to walk the road ahead with a little more care, a little more wisdom, a little more tenderness toward the fragile and improbable thing we are. So which is it? Which stone are we holding? Is the filter behind us already survived, leaving us rare and precious and free? Or is it ahead of us, still waiting, a narrowing the others did not pass? The honest and quiet truth is that we do not know. We cannot yet see far enough along the road in either direction to be certain. And there is a strange peace in that not knowing, the same peace we have been resting in all along. We hold both stones, the light one and the heavy one, and we do not have to choose between them tonight. We only have to feel their weight and wonder, and let the wondering carry us gently towards sleep. But notice what the idea of the great filter has done. It has taken the vast and shapeless silence of the sky and given it a shape. It has turned the question, where is everybody, into a sharper and more answerable one. If almost nothing completes the road, then there is some particular step, some specific obstacle that stops them. And so we are led, gently, to a new question, one we will carry forward into the parts ahead. What is it? What could that obstacle be? What single thing could be difficult enough, total enough, final enough to silence nearly every world that ever set out upon the road? What barrier could stop the others so completely that across the whole vast ocean of stars we hear nothing at all? That is the question we will spend the heart of our journey exploring, and we will explore it the way we have explored everything, slowly, gently, one room at a time. And as we look toward it, we can already begin to see that the possible answers gather themselves into a few broad shapes. There are, you might say, 3 great doors, 3 different rooms in which the explanation for the silence might be hiding. Tonight, we will only name them, only stand before each one for a moment and feel its presence. And then in the parts to come, we will open each in turn and walk slowly through. Behind the first door is a quiet and humbling possibility. That life itself, the very first living thing, or perhaps the leap from simple life to complex life, is so extraordinarily rare that it almost never happens at all. That the filter lies very early on the road, near its very beginning, in the hardest of all steps, the kindling of life from lifeless matter, or the long, slow climb from the simplest specks to creatures of any real richness. If that door is the true one, then the universe is quiet, because living worlds are vanishingly few, and thinking worlds rarer still, and we are among the most fortunate things that have ever existed. This is the door of rarity, and we will open it first. Behind the second door is a more sobering possibility, and we will hold it as gently as we held the heavy stone tonight. That life is not so rare at all, that the road is walked again and again, that minds arise often, that civilizations bloom on many worlds, but that there is a barrier near the far end of the road after the rise of intelligence, after the building of technology, a barrier that civilizations tend to meet and tend not to survive. That the very power which lets a species reach toward the stars may also, again and again, become the thing that ends it. This is the door of self-ending, and behind it lies the question of whether the danger that worries us about our own future is a danger that has already quietly claimed the others. We will open this door too, with care, and behind the third door is the gentlest possibility of all, the one that turns the whole silence on its head. That the universe is simply young, that we are not late arrivals walking through a house already lived in and left behind, but early arrivals in a house still being built. That the great age of life and mind lies not behind us in the silent past, but ahead of us in a future that has barely begun. That the silence is not absence, but earliness, the quiet of a morning before the others have woken. This is the door of being early, and we will save it for nearer the end, because it is the most restful of the three, and the most full of quiet hope. 3 doors, rarity, self-ending, earliness. 3 different ways the universe might be both as full as our reasoning suggests and as silent as our instruments find. And we will walk through each of them together, slowly, in the nights and the parts ahead, feeling our way through each room without any hurry to reach a conclusion. For now, let the shape of it all settle over you, soft and complete. There is a long road from bare matter to the stars. Somewhere along it there is a narrowing so severe that almost nothing passes through. It may lie behind us, in which case we are rare and precious and free. It may lie ahead of us, in which case the silence is a gentle warning to walk with care. And the great obstacle itself, whatever it is, hides behind one of 3 doors, rarity, or self-ending, or simple earliness, each of which we will open in its own time. You do not need to know tonight which door is the true one. No one knows. The not knowing is part of the wonder, part of what makes this a question you can lie down inside, rather than a problem you must solve before you rest. So let the question be large and soft and unanswered above you, the way the night sky itself is large and soft and unanswered. And let it hold you rather than press upon you. Let your breath grow slow once more. Let your body settle a little deeper into the warmth around you. The road is very long, and the filter, wherever it lies, is in no hurry, and neither are you. There is nothing to decide and nothing to fear. There is only a beautiful question, and 3 doors waiting quietly in the dark, and the slow, soft drift of your own breathing as you move gently towards sleep. We will open the first door soon, the door of rarity, the possibility that you, lying here in the dark, are among the rarest things the universe has ever made. But not yet. For now, simply rest. The doors will still be there. They have been waiting for billions of years. They can wait a little longer while you sleep. Tonight we open the first door. It is the door of rarity, and behind it lies a possibility that is, at its heart, not lonely at all but tender, even though it sounds at first as though it should be sad. The possibility is this, that life, the simple fact of a world waking up, of matter learning to grow and copy itself and reach toward the light, may be one of the rarest things the universe ever does. So rare that across all the countless worlds we have wondered about, only a vanishing few ever cross the threshold into living at all. And rarer still, the climb from the simplest living things to anything rich and complex enough to wonder about its own sky. Let us walk through this room slowly, the way you would move through a quiet house at night, not turning on the lights all at once, but letting your eyes adjust, letting each thing reveal itself in its own time. Because if life truly is rare, the reason is not a single thing. It is a long chain of fortunate conditions, each one quiet, each one easy to overlook, and yet each one perhaps necessary, link after link, before a world can become a cradle. We will trace that chain gently, And as we do, something gentle may happen inside you. You may begin to feel just how many small and improbable kindnesses had to gather together before you could exist at all. Begin with where we are. Not the Earth itself yet, but its place in the wider galaxy, the neighborhood our sun calls home. We tend to think of the galaxy as one single place, but it is not uniform. It has crowded regions and empty ones, violent corners and calm ones. Near the dense and blazing heart of the galaxy, the stars are packed close together, and the sky there is full of fierce radiation and the wreckage of exploding suns, a place where a young and fragile world might be sterilized again and again before life could ever take hold. And out at the thin and distant edges, the opposite problem appears. There, the early universe had not yet cooked enough of the heavier elements, the carbon and the iron and the oxygen, the very materials a rocky world and a living body require. Too far in, and the violence is too great. Too far out, and the ingredients are too few. But there is a gentle band between those extremes, a quiet ring within the galaxy where the radiation is calm enough and the heavy elements are plentiful enough, where a world might form from rich material and still be left in peace long enough for something to begin. Our sun, by good fortune, drifts within that gentle band. It is neither too close to the fierce center nor too lost in the barren edge. It is held, you might say, in a calm pocket of an otherwise restless galaxy. And that calm is the first quiet kindness, the first link in the chain, the still place where the rest of the story becomes possible. Now let us draw closer, in toward our own sun and the family of worlds that circle it. Here, a second kindness reveals itself, one so familiar that we never think of it as remarkable. The Earth sits at just the right distance from its star, not so close that its oceans would boil away into a choking sky, as happened to Venus, our scorched and hidden sister. Not so far that its waters would freeze into a permanent stillness, as happened to Mars, the cold red world that may once have run with rivers and now lies dry and silent. The Earth sits in the gentle band around its star, the narrow ring where water can remain liquid, where it can pool into oceans and fall as rain and move and gather and dissolve. And water, that simple, patient liquid, seems to be the place where the long, slow chemistry of life can begin. We sit in the one narrow ring where the water stays soft. That is the second kindness, and like the first, it is a matter of place, of being held in just the right distance from a great warmth. But position alone is not enough. A world can sit in exactly the right place and still be a hostile cradle if it cannot keep itself steady. And so we come to a third kindness, one that hangs in the sky where you can see it on a clear night. The moon. We are so used to the moon that we rarely consider how strange it is. It is enormous, far larger in proportion to its world than almost any other moon we know circling any other planet. And that great size turns out to matter in a way that has nothing to do with its beauty. A spinning world, left to itself, can wobble. Its axis, the tilt that gives it seasons, can swing wildly over the ages, lurching the world from scorching extremes to frozen ones and back again, the kind of violent swinging that would make the long stability of life almost impossible. But our great moon, with its steady pull, holds the Earth's tilt nearly fixed. It steadies us, the way a heavy keel steadies a ship in rough water. Because of the moon, our seasons are gentle and reliable, turning in their slow and trustworthy circle, year after year, age after age. The moon is the quiet companion that keeps our world from staggering, and that steadiness is the third kindness in the chain. And there is a fourth, far out in the cold reaches of our solar system, doing its work where no eye could ever notice it. The giant planets, especially mighty Jupiter, enormous beyond imagining, circle in the outer dark. And by their very size, by the great reach of their gravity, they act as a kind of shield. They draw in and fling away much of the wandering debris, the comets and the great rocks that might otherwise have come hurtling toward the inner worlds again and again. Not all of it. Some still reaches us, and some of those impacts have reshaped the history of life on Earth. but far less than would arrive in a system without such guardians in the outer dark. The great planets sweep the road clear in their slow and indifferent way, and that sweeping is the fourth kindness, a protection we never see and never thank. Now let us go down beneath the surface of our world into its hidden heart, for the fifth kindness is buried there. Deep within the earth, the core is molten, a vast, slow ocean of liquid metal turning endlessly under unimaginable pressure and heat. And that turning, that restless churning of metal far below your feet, generates something invisible that wraps the entire planet in its embrace. A magnetic field. You cannot see it. You have never felt it. But it is there, all the time, reaching out beyond the sky, and it does something quietly essential. It deflects the constant stream of high-energy particles that pours out from the sun, a stream that would otherwise strip away our atmosphere and our water over the long ages, leaving us bare and dry. The molten heart makes the magnetic shield, and the magnetic shield protects the air and the oceans, which protect the life. One quiet condition enabling another, deep beneath your resting body, even now, even tonight. That is the fifth kindness. Feel how they gather, these conditions, each one quiet, each one enabling the next. The calm place in the galaxy, the gentle distance from the star, the steadying moon, the guardian giants in the outer dark, the molten heart and its invisible shield. Each one alone might seem like an accident, but together they begin to look like a long and improbable sequence of fortunate things, all of which seem to have been needed before a world could hold life steadily enough, gently enough, for long enough to let the deeper story unfold. Because here is what all those kindnesses bought. They bought time, long, unbroken, uninterrupted stretches of stability. And time, it turns out, may be the rarest gift of all. The story of life on Earth is not a quick one, it is staggeringly slow. And when you look closely at how slowly it unfolded, you begin to see two places in the story where the path grew so thin that it is hard to believe anything passed through at all. The first is the very beginning, the leap from lifeless chemistry to the first living thing. Think of what that means. A world of bare matter, of water and rock and dissolved minerals, of energy from the sun and heat from the deep. And somehow, somewhere, out of all that lifelessness, the first thing that could be called alive, the first speck that could take in the world around it and grow and make a copy of itself and pass on what it was. We do not know how it happened. We do not know how likely it was. We know only that on our world it happened, at least once, very long ago, in the deep early ages when the Earth was young. And it may have been so improbable, so dependent on exactly the right materials, meeting in exactly the right way, under exactly the right conditions, that on most worlds it simply never happens at all. The bare chemistry sits there, patient and lifeless, for billions of years, and never takes that first impossible step. If that is so, then the very first link, the kindling of life itself, may be the great rarity, the narrowing that almost nothing passes. But suppose a world clears even that. Suppose life does begin. There is a second narrowing, and it is in some ways even stranger than the first, because of how long it made the world wait. For most of the history of life on Earth, life was simple. For billions of years, our world held nothing but the smallest and simplest living things. Single specks too small to see, drifting and dividing in the ancient seas. Not for 1,000,000 years, not for 100 million. For something like 2 billion years, perhaps more, life on Earth remained simple and went no further. The world turned, the continents drifted, the oceans rose and fell, and still life stayed small and simple, age after age after age, with a patience that is almost beyond imagining. And then, once, something extraordinary happened. One simple cell, somehow, came to live inside another. Not as food, not as prey, but as a partner, two separate living things joining into one, the smaller dwelling within the larger, working together, becoming a single richer thing. From that strange and singular union came the kind of complex cell that all larger life is built from. The cell with an inner structure, with the machinery that would eventually make possible everything rich and intricate. Every plant and every animal, every forest and every creature that has ever looked up at the stars. And here is the part that gives one pause in the quiet of the night. As far as we can tell, this happened only once. In all the billions of years of life on Earth, this particular leap, from simple cell to complex cell, seems to have occurred a single time. Everything complex that has ever lived, including you, descends from that one ancient union. Once, in billions of years, on a world where life was already flourishing. If a step that follows the beginning of life is itself so rare that it happened only a single time in all of Earth's long history, then perhaps it is rare across the cosmos too. Perhaps many worlds do kindle life, and that life takes hold and fills the seas with simple things and then stays simple forever, for as long as the world lasts, never taking that second strange leap into complexity. Worlds full of life and yet silent, because the life there never grew rich enough to wonder. Now let the whole chain rest in your mind at once, gently, all of it together. The calm place in the galaxy, the gentle distance from the star, the steadying moon, the guardian giants, the molten heart and its shield, the long unbroken stretches of stable time, and then, resting on top of all of that, the first impossible leap into life, and the second strange and singular leap into complexity. Link after link after link, each one perhaps rare, each one perhaps necessary, all of them somehow gathered together on this one small world. And if all of that is true, if life really is the product of so long and so improbable a chain, then consider, softly, what you are. You are not an ordinary thing. You are the far end of a sequence, so unlikely that it may have completed itself only a handful of times in the entire universe, perhaps only here. Every one of those quiet kindnesses had to fall into place before you could draw a single breath. The galaxy had to hold your sun in its calm band. The earth had to settle into its gentle ring. The moon had to steady the sky. The giants had to guard the dark. The molten heart had to keep its turning. Life had to take its first impossible step, and then, 2 billion patient years later, its second. And only then, after all of it, after billions of years of fortunate things gathering one upon another, could there be a world with creatures in it. And only then could one of those creatures be you, lying here in the warm dark, breathing slowly, alive. Let that settle over you, not as loneliness, but as gratitude. If life is rare, you are not abandoned in an empty universe. You are something precious that the universe almost never manages to make. You are the rarest kind of thing there is, a piece of the cosmos that came alive, and then grew complex, and then woke up enough to look back at the long road it traveled and feel a quiet astonishment at having traveled it at all. The silence of the sky in this telling is not a sorrow. It is the measure of how extraordinary it is that you are here. And yet, we must be honest, even as we rest, because the night is long and the journey is not finished. Rarity alone may not explain everything. For even if life is rare, the universe is so vast, holds so many worlds, has had so much time, that even a rare thing should happen somewhere, more than once, perhaps many times over. A chance in a billion, across trillions of worlds, still leaves room for others. So rarity may be part of the answer, perhaps a large part, but it may not be the whole of it. There may be worlds out there that did clear every narrowing, that did kindle life and grow complex and give rise to minds, just as our world did. And if there are, then the question returns to us, softened but not gone. Where are they? What became of the ones who, like us, made it through? That question leads us toward the second door, the more sobering one, the one we will hold as gently as we held the heavy stone. The possibility that some worlds do walk the whole long road, all the way to minds and to civilizations, and then meet a barrier near the end that they do not survive. But we will not open that door tonight. Tonight, it is enough to have stood in the first room, the room of rarity, and to have felt, link by link, how many quiet miracles may stand behind your own existence. So let the gratitude be the last thing you hold as you drift. not the silence, not the questions still waiting. Only the simple and astonishing fact that against odds we can barely imagine, you are here. The chain held, the road was walked, and you, rare beyond counting, are resting now, warm and breathing and alive, beneath a sky full of stars that may hold nothing half so precious as the small living thing that you are. Rest now. The second door can wait. It has waited a very long time already, and it will still be there tomorrow. For tonight, simply be what you are, the rarest thing in the dark, and let yourself drift gently down into sleep. Tonight we open the second door, and we will open it slowly, with great gentleness, because behind it lies a thought that can frighten a person if it is held too tightly. So we will not hold it tightly. We will hold it the way you hold something fragile in the dark, with open hands, lightly, letting it rest there without gripping. The thought behind this door is this: that life may not be so rare after all, that the long road may be walked again and again, on world after world, all the way to the rise of minds and the building of civilizations, and that the silence of the sky comes not from a barrier near the beginning of the road, but from one near the end, a barrier that civilizations tend to reach and tend not to survive. The possibility, in other words, that civilizations consistently end themselves. Let us not rush at that idea or let it loom. Let us approach it the way we approach everything here, as a quiet pattern to be wondered at rather than a catastrophe to be feared. Because if this is true, it is not a story of horror. It is a story of something tender and sorrowful and very old, repeating softly across the cosmos again and again, the way the tide repeats along every shore. Here is the heart of it, laid out gently. To build a radio, to send a voice across the dark between the stars, a civilization needs power. It needs to learn how to draw energy from its world, to shape its materials, to bend the forces of nature to its will. It needs intelligence and curiosity, and the long patient drive to understand and to build. These are the very things that carry a young civilization up the final stretch of the road, from simple tools toward the stars. And here is the quiet and difficult truth that lies at the center of this door. The same power that lets a species reach outward may also be the power that lets it end itself. The same cleverness that builds the means to speak across the stars may build, alongside it, the means of its own silence. Think of it softly, not as a warning, but as an observation about the shape of things. Power tends to arrive before wisdom. The ability to do something vast tends to come more quickly than the patience and the care needed to hold that ability safely. A young civilization may learn how to unlock enormous forces long before it learns how to live gently with them. It may gain the strength to reshape its entire world while it is still in its deepest habits, the same creature it was when it lived simply, with small concerns and short horizons. And in that gap, in that quiet mismatch between the size of the power and the slowness of the wisdom, there may lie a danger that almost every civilization must somehow pass through. This is not a thing to fear so much as a thing to understand. Let us move softly through the shapes this danger might take, keeping each one general and distant, the way you might consider the weather of a far country rather than the storm outside your own window. Consider, first, the weapons. A civilization that learns to draw out the deepest energies of its world, the energies bound up in the very heart of matter, gains a power of creation and a power of destruction at the same moment, for they are often the same power wearing different faces. The fire that could warm a world could also, if turned the wrong way, scorch it. And so a young civilization may find itself holding, all at once, the means to end itself many times over, long before it has learned to be the kind of civilization that would never wish to. The danger is not the weapon. The danger is the gap between how quickly the weapon arrives and how slowly the wisdom to set it aside is learned. Many worlds perhaps have stood in that gap. We cannot know how many of them crossed it safely. Consider, next, the slower shape, the one that does not arrive in a single flash but creeps in over generations. A civilization rises by drawing on its world, by burning what it finds, by reshaping the air and the water and the chemistry of the place that gave it birth. And in doing so, without any single moment of intent, without any choice that felt like the end of anything, it may slowly alter the very conditions that allowed it to flourish. The climate that was gentle may grow harsh, the air that was clear may grow thick, the patterns that sustained the world for ages may begin to shift, slowly at first, and then less slowly. This is the quietest of the dangers, because it does not feel like danger while it is happening. It feels like growth, like progress, like the ordinary business of a civilization becoming what it is becoming. And a world might pass through this narrowing too, or it might not, and the difference might depend on something as fragile as whether it noticed in time, and whether, having noticed, it found the will to change. Consider, too, the third shape, gentler still and sadder in its way. A civilization rises by using the riches of its world, the stored energy and the rare materials, the deep reserves that took the planet ages to gather, and those riches are finite. They are spent only once. A civilization might climb high upon them, might build wonders, might even begin to reach toward the stars, and then find that the very foundation it climbed upon has thinned beneath it, the easy reserves drawn down, the simple abundance that fueled the rise now grown scarce. And if it has not learned by then to draw its power from sources that do not run dry, it may find its long climb faltering, its reach falling short, its great works growing quiet for want of the energy that once seemed endless. Not a sudden ending, but a slow settling back into silence. Notice, as we move through these shapes, that none of them is exotic. None of them requires anything strange or alien. They are simply the ordinary risks of being a young and powerful civilization, the kinds of challenges that any species might face once it has climbed high enough to hold real power in its hands. Weapons that outpace wisdom, a home world quietly altered by its own inhabitants, the exhaustion of the riches that fueled the rise. These are not predictions about anyone in particular. They are the common weather of the final stretch of the road, the storms that any traveler might meet there, on any world, beneath any sun. And here is where we must be most careful, most gentle, because this is the place where the thought could turn frightening if we let it. So let us reframe it, softly, into something that carries weight without carrying dread. Imagine a candle burning in a window in a house far across a dark and empty plain. From a great distance, in the night, you can see its small light, warm and steady, a sign that someone is there, that someone has lit a flame against the dark. And then, as you watch, the candle goes out. Perhaps the wind reached it, perhaps it simply burned down to nothing, perhaps the hand that lit it grew tired, the window goes dark. And from where you stand, far away on the plain, all you can know is that the light was there, and now it is not. A civilization that ends is something like that candle. It is not a horror. It is a light that was lit and burned for a while, warm and real, and then went out. The window goes dark, and across the great plain of the cosmos, another watcher, on some other world, might one day notice the absence where the light used to be. The silence we hear when we turn our dishes toward the stars may be, in part, the silence of all those windows that once held candles and now hold only dark. Not a sky full of horror, a sky full of windows that were lit once and have since grown quiet, each one a small warm life that flickered on its far shore and then gently went still. There is grief in that image, but it is a soft grief, the kind that does not claw at you but settles over you like dusk. It is the grief one feels for things that lived and mattered and ended, which is the oldest and most universal grief there is, the grief woven into the very fact of being alive at all. To hold it is not to be afraid. It is only to be tender toward all the brief, warm lights that the universe lights and lets go out. Now let us return briefly to the idea that has been guiding our whole journey, the great filter, that single narrowing along the road that almost nothing passes. And let us ask the quiet question that this door forces us to ask. Is this it? Is this the barrier that waits ahead? If civilizations consistently end themselves in one of these shapes or in some shape we have not imagined, then the filter is not behind us at all. It is in front of us, near the end of the road, in that gap between power and wisdom. And every silent world out there would be a world that reached this point, this very point, much like the point at which we now stand, and did not pass through. The silence would be all of them, all the candles that were lit, all the windows that went dark, all the civilizations that climbed the long road only to meet the same, narrowing near its end and fall quiet there, one after another, world after world, across all the ages of the sky. Let that thought come and let it rest, and now let us soften it immediately and completely, because there is something in it that the frightened mind tends to miss, and it changes everything. To recognize a danger is already to begin to escape it. Sit with how much that matters. The civilizations that ended, if they ended, may have done so without ever clearly seeing the narrowing they were approaching. The candle does not know about the wind, but we are doing something now, tonight, in this very wandering, that may be rare and precious along the whole length of the road. We are looking ahead. We are imagining the barrier before we reach it. We are asking gently and without panic what dangers a young civilization tends to face, and whether we might be facing them too. And no other world's silence can tell us that our own ending is fixed. The silence can only invite us to walk forward with a little more care. A danger that is seen is a danger that can be prepared for. A storm that is forecast is a storm that ships can sail around. The very fact that we can lie here in the dark and wonder about the filter that might wait ahead is itself a kind of small protection, a lantern held up against the night, the beginning of the wisdom that the power has been waiting for. And there is something else, something even gentler, to set beside the sober thought before we let it go. We do not actually know that this is the answer. This is only the second door, only one room of three. It may be that this barrier is real and that many worlds have met it. Or it may be that civilizations, more often than we fear, learn the wisdom in time, set down the weapons, tend their worlds, find new sources for their power, and pass through the narrowing into long and quiet flourishing, growing so gentle and so unobtrusive in their maturity that we simply do not notice them, their candles still burning softly in windows too far and too dim for us to see. The silence might mean ending, or it might mean only that the ones who lasted learned to live quietly. We cannot yet tell the difference, and in that not knowing there is room, as always, for hope. So let us close this door the way we opened it, gently, with open hands. Behind it was a sobering thought, that the same power which lets a species reach for the stars may also let it end itself, and that the silence of the sky might be the accumulated quiet of all the worlds that met that narrowing and did not pass. We held the thought. We felt its weight, and then we set beside it the two soft truths that keep it from becoming despair. That to see a danger is to gain the chance of avoiding it, and that we do not know, we genuinely do not know, whether this is the answer at all, or only one possibility among several, with gentler ones still waiting to be explored. There is a third door yet to open, and it is the gentlest of them all, the one that turns the whole silence into something almost hopeful. But that is for another night. For now it is enough to have stood in this second room, the room of endings, and to have learned that even here, even in the room that touches our deepest fears, there is a way to hold the thought tenderly rather than fearfully, not as a horror waiting in the dark, but as a candle that burned and mattered and went out, and as a quiet reminder to tend our own small flame with a little more care. Let your breath grow slow and even now. Let the soft grief, if it came, settle into something more like tenderness, the gentle ache one feels for all things that live and end, which is only love wearing its quietest face. You are here, now, alive, with your own small light still burning warm in the dark. That is not nothing. That is, perhaps, the rarest and most precious thing there is. And the simple act of caring about it, of wondering how to keep it lit, is already a kind of wisdom, already a small step through the narrowing, already a lantern raised against the long and patient night. Rest now. The candle is still burning, the window is still warm, and the third door, the gentlest one, will be waiting quietly when you wake, in no hurry at all, as it has been waiting for longer than there have been eyes to see the stars. Tonight we widen the view once more, back out from the small, warm rooms of a single world and into the great cosmic scale, because there is another shape the silence might take, and it is different in kind from everything we have considered so far. The dangers we wondered about last night came from within. They were the risks a civilization carries inside itself, the weapons and the slow alterations and the spending of its riches, the things a world might, with enough wisdom, learn to avoid. But there is another kind of danger entirely, and it asks nothing of wisdom at all. It comes not from within a world, but from the sky above it. It is the danger that no choice could prevent, no caution could escape, no foresight could turn aside, the catastrophes that come from outside. Let us move through these slowly, the way we have moved through everything, with awe rather than alarm. Because these are among the most violent events the universe can produce, and yet held at the right distance, considered in the calm of the night, they become not threats but wonders, vast and strange and almost beautiful in their indifference. We begin with the most violent of them all. Far out among the distant galaxies, every so often, the universe releases a burst of energy so enormous that it strains the limits of what the mind can hold. We call these gamma-ray bursts, and they are the brightest explosions known to exist. When a truly massive star, many times the size of our sun, reaches the end of its long life and collapses, or when two dead stars, the dense and burned-out cores of suns long gone, spiral together and finally collide, the universe answers with a flash of radiation so intense that, for a few brief seconds, that single burst can shine brighter than all the rest of the galaxy combined. Not brighter than a star, brighter than billions of stars, all at once, poured into a few moments, and aimed, often, into narrow beams that race outward across the dark. Let us try to feel the scale of that, gently, without letting it frighten us, because the numbers alone mean nothing until they become something the body can almost sense. Imagine the energy our sun pours out, the warmth that crosses the whole vast distance of space to touch your skin on a summer afternoon, the energy that feeds every living thing on Earth, that lifts the oceans into clouds and turns the green leaves toward the light. Our sun produces that steadily, generously, for billions of years. Now imagine all the energy our sun will release across its entire lifetime, every drop of warmth it will ever give, from its birth to its distant death, all of it gathered up. A gamma-ray burst can release something like that much energy, the whole lifetime output of a star, in a span of seconds. The whole long warmth of a sun compressed into a single blinding instant and flung outward across the universe. A burst like that, if it were aimed toward a world, even from very far away, even from across great reaches of space, could reach out and touch that world in a way that no shelter could prevent. It would not need to strike the world directly, the way a stone strikes the ground. It would only need to wash over it. The intense radiation could strip away the delicate upper layers of a planet's atmosphere, the very layers that shield the surface from the harsher light of its own star, leaving the world below exposed in a way it had never been before. A living world, peaceful and thriving, going about the slow business of its life, could be altered in a single afternoon by an explosion that happened long ago and far away in some distant corner of the sky, with no warning and no defense possible. But here, immediately, we must hold the other side, because this is the truth that turns the thought from fear into wonder. These bursts are rare and they are far. They happen, but they happen seldom. And the universe is so enormous that the great majority of them flash and fade in regions impossibly distant from any particular world. The beams are narrow. The chances of one being aimed precisely at any given world, from close enough to matter in any given stretch of time, are very small. We are not lying beneath a sky that bristles with these things, waiting to fall. We are lying beneath a sky in which they are the rarest of exceptions, distant fireworks in an otherwise calm and patient dark. The danger is real, but it is the kind of danger that, for any single world, almost never arrives. And so we can consider it the way we consider a great storm on a far ocean, with awe at its power and gratitude for the distance between it and us. Let us move now to a danger closer to home in kind, though still rare and still distant: the death of a great star nearby. When a massive star, far larger than our sun, finally exhausts the fuel that has burned in its heart for millions of years, it does not fade quietly. It collapses, and then it explodes, in an event we call a supernova, one of the grandest and most consequential things the universe ever does. For a few weeks, a single dying star can outshine an entire galaxy, blazing with the light of billions of suns, and then slowly dimming as the wreckage spreads outward into the dark. These deaths are not only destruction, they are also creation. And this is one of the most beautiful truths in all of cosmology, one worth resting in for a moment. The heavy elements that make up your world and your body, the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you are breathing slowly even now, were forged in the hearts of great stars and scattered across space by exactly these explosions. Every supernova is both an ending and a sowing, a death that flings the seeds of future worlds and future life out into the dark. You are made of the ash of such deaths. The atoms of you were cooked in stars that exploded long before the sun was born. So when we speak of the danger of a nearby supernova, we are speaking of the same process that made us possible, only seen from too close. For if a great star happens to lie near a living world, near enough, and reaches the end of its life, the explosion that scatters those precious elements could also bathe the nearby world in a flood of radiation strong enough to harm the life upon it. Near enough, in this case, still means very far by any human measure, many trillions upon trillions of miles, distances so vast that light itself takes years or decades to cross them. But on the scale of the galaxy, such a star might be a close neighbor, and its death might reach across that gulf and touch a world that had done nothing but happen to form within reach. Again, this is rare. Most worlds spend their entire long lives without ever having a great star die close enough to harm them. But across the vast sweep of cosmic time, on some worlds it may have happened, and a world that was listening, a world that might one day have spoken, may have fallen silent beneath the light of a neighbor's death. And now let us come all the way down, from the great explosions of the deep sky to the dangers that rise from a world's own neighborhood, the slower catastrophes that even our own Earth has known many times. For not all the dangers from outside come from across the galaxy. Some come from much nearer, from the very system a world calls home. Consider the wandering stones, the comets and the great rocks that drift through every star's family of worlds, leftover debris from the system's birth. Most of them drift harmlessly for ages, and the guardian giants in the outer dark, as we wandered together 2 nights ago, sweep many of them away. But not all. Now and then, across the long ages, one of them finds its way inward and strikes. And a large enough impact can change a world in an afternoon, throwing so much dust and debris into the sky that the light of the star is dimmed for years, the world cooling and darkening, the delicate web of life convulsing under the sudden change. Our own world has known this. The great creatures that once ruled this planet, the long ages of their dominance, were brought to an end, the evidence suggests, by a single great stone arriving from the dark. The world did not end. Life did not end. But it was reshaped utterly, an entire order of things swept away to make room for what came after, including, in time, us. And consider too the dangers that rise not from the sky but from the deep beneath a world's own crust. There have been ages in our planet's history when the inner fire broke through on an enormous scale, when vast regions of the surface ran with molten rock for thousands upon thousands of years, when the air filled with the breath of the deep earth and the climate of the whole world tilted and convulsed. These slow volcanic ages, stretching across timescales the mind can barely hold, have reshaped life on Earth as profoundly as any stone from the sky, ending some chapters of the living story and opening others. A world does not need a visitor from space to be transformed. It can transform itself from within, through forces no inhabitant could ever hope to govern. Now let us gather all of these together and notice the shape they make, using the structure we have used before, the gentle rule and its rare exception. Here is the rule, and it is a comforting one. The universe is mostly gentle, the universe is mostly patient. For the overwhelming majority of worlds, across the overwhelming majority of time, nothing catastrophic comes from outside at all. The stars burn steadily, the sky stays calm, the wandering stones drift harmlessly by. A world can go about the long, slow business of its life for billions of years, undisturbed, while the violent events of the cosmos flash and fade in regions far away. That is the rule: gentleness, patience, long, undisturbed stretches of peace. And here is the exception. Every so often, rarely, against the long background of that calm, one of these violent things does reach a world. A distant burst happens to be aimed just so. A neighboring star happens to die just close enough. A wandering stone happens to find its way inward. A world's own inner fire happens to break loose on a vast scale. These are the rare exceptions, the seldom storms in an otherwise quiet sky. But across the enormous sweep of worlds and time, even rare things happen somewhere. And so some of the worlds that might have spoken, some of the windows that held candles, may have gone dark not by any choice or failing of their own, but simply because the indifferent sky reached out and touched them at the wrong moment, in the wrong place, through no fault and no foresight of anyone at all. There is a particular feeling that comes with holding this, and it is worth naming, because it is one of the deepest feelings the cosmos can offer. It is the awe of standing before a universe that is, at the very same time, both nurturing and indifferent. The same supernovae that could end a world are the explosions that forge the elements of life. The same great forces that build are the forces that, on rare occasions, unmake. The universe is not cruel. Cruelty would require it to care, and it does not care. It simply is, vast and patient and beautiful, sowing the seeds of life with one hand and, very rarely, sweeping them away with the other, never noticing either, never intending anything at all. To rest beneath such a sky is to feel very small and very held at the same time, cradled by the same forces that could, in some far and unlikely moment, undo us, and finding in that paradox not terror, but a strange and quiet peace. And now, as we let this part settle toward its close, let us gather the last two nights into a single soft thought, because they belong together. 2 nights ago we wondered whether civilizations end themselves through the gap between their power and their wisdom. Tonight we have wondered whether the sky ends them through the rare violence of a cosmos that does not mean to. These are very different stories. One is a story of choice, or the failure of choice. The other is a story of pure chance, of forces beyond any reach. One asks for wisdom, the other asks for nothing, because nothing would help. And yet, here is the soft and surprising truth that joins them. From where we lie, listening, the result is the same. Whether a civilization ends by its own hand, in the slow failure to hold its own power, or by the sky's hand, in the rare arrival of a distant violence, the thing we hear afterward is identical. A silence, a window gone dark, a voice that is no longer speaking. We cannot tell, from the quiet alone, which kind of ending it was. We cannot hear the difference between a candle that the wind blew out and a candle that simply burned down. We hear only that the light is no longer there, and that it was once and is not now. So the silence of the sky may be woven from both threads at once. The worlds that ended themselves and the worlds the cosmos ended, mingled together into one great quiet, indistinguishable from where we stand. And in that mingling there is, strangely, a kind of comfort. For it reminds us that endings are simply part of the fabric of a living universe, as natural as the dark that follows every dusk, that the cosmos has always been a place where lights are lit and lights go out, and that there is nothing unnatural or wrong in this, only the deep old rhythm of being and ceasing to be that runs through everything that has ever existed, including the stars themselves, including one far day, our own gentle sun. But we have one door left to open, and it is the gentlest of all, and it casts every dark window we have wondered about tonight in an entirely new and softer light. For we have been assuming, all along, that the silent worlds are worlds that have ended. We have not yet considered the possibility that they have not ended at all, that they have simply not yet begun, that the silence is not the quiet after a voice, but the quiet before one. That door is for the next part of our journey. For now, let the violence of the sky be what it truly is for you tonight, distant and rare and almost beautiful, the grand indifferent weather of a universe that made you and holds you and will, in its own unhurried time, do with everything as it does with everything. There is nothing arriving tonight. The sky above your roof is calm, as it is calm above nearly every world on nearly every night across all the long ages. The stones are drifting harmlessly. The great stars are burning steadily. The bursts are flashing in galaxies so far away their light means nothing to you but a faint and ancient glimmer. Let your breath grow slow. Let the awe settle into peace. You are held beneath a patient sky, made of the ash of ancient stars, resting in the long calm that is the universe's truest nature. The exceptions are rare and far. The rule is gentleness, and tonight, the rule is all that touches you as you drift gently down into sleep. Tonight we open the third door, and this is the one I have been most eager to share with you, because it is the gentlest of them all, and because it takes everything we have wondered about and turns it softly on its head. All this time we have been treating the silence as something that comes after the worlds that were too rare to arise, after the civilizations that lit their candles and went dark. We have been wandering in our imagination through a great house that was lived in and left behind, listening for voices that have already fallen quiet. But there is another way to understand the silence entirely, and it asks us to turn around. It asks us to consider that the silence is not the quiet after a voice. It is the quiet before one. It asks us to consider that we are not late at all. We are early. Let that word settle over you. Early. It is such a small and ordinary word, and yet held against the whole vast question of the silent sky, it changes everything. Let us walk through it slowly, the way we have walked through everything, and feel the weight lift as we go. Here is the turn, laid out as gently as I can offer it. We have been assuming, without quite noticing that we were assuming it, that the universe is old, and in one sense, it is. 13 billion years and more is a span beyond anything the human mind can hold. But there is another sense, a deeper sense, in which the universe is not old at all, in which it is, in fact, astonishingly young, a newborn, barely begun. And if that is true, then the silence is not the silence of an ending. It is the silence of a morning so early that almost no one has woken yet. To feel why this might be so, we have to go back, all the way back, to the very beginning, to the first stars that ever burned. And there we find something quietly remarkable, something that turns out to matter enormously for the story of life. When the universe was young, in its first ages, there was almost nothing to make worlds from. The early cosmos held only the lightest of elements, the simplest stuff, hydrogen and helium, the thin primordial gas left over from the very beginning. And you cannot build a world like ours from hydrogen and helium. You cannot build a body like yours from them. There was no carbon yet, the element that forms the backbone of every living thing. There was no oxygen, no nitrogen, none of the rich materials that life requires. There was no iron to make a molten heart, no rock to make a solid ground, no calcium, no phosphorus, none of the heavier elements at all. The early universe was a place of pure simplicity, vast and luminous and utterly unable, yet to make anything as intricate as a living thing. So where did all of it come from? The carbon and the oxygen and the iron, all the rich materials that you are made of, that your world is made of. It was cooked, slowly, patiently, deep in the hearts of stars. This is one of the most beautiful truths we have ever discovered, and it is worth resting in. The first generation of stars formed from that simple primordial gas, and in their burning hearts, under unimaginable pressure and heat, they fused the light elements into heavier ones, building carbon and oxygen and the rest, forging in their cores the very atoms that life would one day need. And then, when those first stars died, when they exhausted their fuel and collapsed and exploded, they scattered those newly made elements out into the dark, seeding the surrounding space with the ingredients of future worlds. But it did not happen all at once. It could not. It took generations. The scattered material gathered again and formed new stars, and those stars cooked still more of the heavy elements and died and scattered them in their turn, enriching the gas a little more each time. Generation after generation of stars, living and dying, each one adding to the slowly growing store of the materials that life requires. It was a long, patient enrichment, stretching across billions of years, the universe slowly stocking its shelves, slowly preparing the ingredients, slowly becoming the kind of place where a world like ours could even form. Think of how long that took. The universe needed billions of years simply to make the stuff that worlds and bodies are built from. Our own sun, our own Earth, could not have formed in the early cosmos no matter what. The ingredients were not ready. We had to wait for generations of stars to live and die first, to cook and scatter the carbon and the oxygen and the iron, before there was enough rich material gathered in one place for a world like this one to come together at all. We are not early arrivals who showed up before the party. We are among the first guests who could possibly have come, because the universe spent its entire first long age simply preparing the things we are made of. Let that settle. We could not have come sooner. The cosmos was not ready for us, or for anything like us, until quite recently in its own long reckoning, and that single fact begins to lift the whole weight of the silence. If worlds rich enough to bear life could only begin forming in real numbers after billions of years of stellar enrichment, then perhaps the great flowering of life across the cosmos is not behind us at all. Perhaps it is only just beginning. Perhaps we are among the very first, not because we are special, but simply because we are early, because the universe has only recently become the kind of place where life can take hold. And the others, the countless others, have not yet had their turn to wake. And now, let us look not backward, but forward, into the deep future, because this is where the thought becomes truly staggering and truly restful. We tend to imagine that the universe is mostly behind us, that we live in its later ages, that the long story is nearly told. But this is exactly backward. The truth is almost the opposite. The age of stars and worlds and life is not closing. It is barely opening. The universe has an immense future ahead of it, so immense that the whole of its history so far is the merest sliver of what is to come. Consider the stars themselves. The great bright stars, the massive ones, burn quickly and die young in a few million years, a flash by cosmic standards. But the small stars, the modest, quiet, dim red ones that are by far the most common kind of star in the whole universe, burn with extraordinary patience. They sip their fuel slowly. They do not blaze. They glow steadily and faintly, and they keep glowing not for billions of years but for trillions, for 10 trillion years, for 100 billion years, and far beyond, some of them longer than the universe has yet existed by a factor we can barely write down. These small, steady stars will still be burning, warm and constant, long, long after our own sun has died, long after the bright stars have all gone, long after the era we live in now has become an unimaginably ancient memory. And around those small patient stars, worlds are forming and will keep forming for ages yet to come. Most of the worlds that will ever exist may not have formed yet. Most of the planets that will ever hold oceans, that will ever feel the slow chemistry of life begin to stir, that will ever cradle something that wakes and wonders, may still lie in the future, around stars that will outlast our own by spans of time that make the entire history of the universe so far look like a single morning hour. If that is so, then we are not at the end of the story of life. We are at its very beginning. We are in the opening pages, perhaps the opening sentence, of a book whose chapters stretch off into a future so long it has no felt edge at all. Let us hold this gently and let it repeat, because it is the kind of thought that needs to be heard more than once before its comfort fully settles. We are early. The universe is young. The silence is not the quiet of an ending, but the quiet of a beginning. We are not the last of something. We are perhaps among the first. The cosmos is still filling, slowly, with light, and we have arrived near the start of that filling in the early hours, while it is still dark, while most of the windows that will one day hold candles have not yet been built, around stars that have not yet been born, on worlds that do not yet exist. Feel how different this is from everything that came before. In the room of rarity, the silence meant that life was precious and few. In the room of self-ending, the silence meant that civilizations were fragile and brief. Both of those rooms held a kind of sorrow, even when we found tenderness inside them. But this room holds no sorrow at all. In this room, the silence means only that it is early, that the others are coming, but have not come yet. That the cosmos is not a graveyard we are wandering through, but a garden in its first spring, where the first few seeds have only just begun to stir, and the great blooming, the vast flowering of life and mind across 10 trillion years of patient starlight, lies entirely ahead. In this view, when you turn your dish toward the stars and hear nothing, you are not hearing the absence of those who have gone. You are hearing the not yet arrived presence of those who will come. The quiet is not loneliness, it is anticipation. It is the held breath of a universe on the very edge of its long, long day, before the others have woken, before the windows have filled, before the great conversation has begun. And you are here for it. You are awake for the dawn of it. You, lying in the dark, breathing slowly, are among the very first minds to open their eyes in a cosmos that has trillions of years of waking still ahead. There is a particular kind of peace in being early that is different from any other peace. When you are early, there is no rush. There is no sense of having missed anything because nothing has happened yet. There is no grief for what is gone because nothing is gone. There is only the quiet of the morning, the soft grey light before the sun is fully up, the stillness of a world that has not yet begun its day. And in that stillness there is room to simply be, without urgency, without loss, held in the gentle pause before everything begins. That is the peace this third door offers, the peace of the early hour, the peace of the one who has woken first in a house where everyone else is still asleep, and who can lie quietly in the soft light and feel no loneliness in it at all, only the calm certainty that others will wake in time when the morning is ready for them. And so we are left at the end of this room with the gentlest of all the questions, and we will carry it with us into our final part as the last soft thread of the whole journey. What does it mean to be early? What does it mean to be among the opening voices in a cosmos still filling with light? Not the last echo of a long-gone song, but one of the first faint notes of a music that will play for trillions of years. What does it ask of us? And what does it give us to have woken so near the beginning? We do not need to answer this tonight. We can simply hold it, the way we have held every question, lightly, openly, letting it rest beside us in the dark. For now, it is enough to feel the weight lift. All through this journey, we have carried the silence as something heavy, something that might mean rarity or ending or loss. And here, in this last room, the weight simply lifts away. The silence becomes light. It becomes morning. It becomes the soft anticipation of a universe that is not finishing but beginning, not emptying but slowly, patiently filling with light. We are not walking through a house that has been left behind. We are sitting quietly in a house that is still being built, in its very first rooms, in its earliest hours, awake before the dawn. So let that lightness carry you now towards sleep. There is no sorrow to hold tonight. The others are not gone. They are simply not here yet. And we, awake so early, so near the beginning of everything, can rest easily in the soft grey quiet of the cosmic morning, knowing that the long day is still ahead, that the great blooming is still to come, that the silence around us is not the silence of loss, but the silence of a world before it wakes. Let your breath grow slow. Let the weight lift from you the way it has lifted from the question. You are early, you are here, at the beginning. There is nothing you have missed, and nothing you have lost, and all the time in the universe still stretches out ahead. The morning has not come yet. There is no need to rise. There is only the soft, early dark, and your slow breath, and the quiet certainty that the light is coming, in its own time, long after you have drifted gently off to sleep. Rest now, in the early hour. The cosmos is young, and so, tonight, are you. And so we come to the end of our journey together, to the part where we set everything down and let it rest. There is nothing left to learn tonight. There is nothing left to solve. We have traveled a very long way, out across the great ocean of stars and back again, and now there is only the gentle work of returning home, of coming back from the cosmos to this room, to this bed, to the warm and breathing body that has carried you through all of it. So let us begin to come back, slowly, the way you would walk the last quiet stretch of a path toward a house with a single lamp burning in the window. We began beneath a sky so full of stars that the numbers grew soft and dreamlike, and we wondered at the strange silence within all that vastness, the great quiet where we expected to hear voices. And then we walked together through 3 doors, 3 different ways of understanding that silence. Let them drift back through your mind now, not as facts to hold, but as feelings to release, the way you might watch 3 lanterns float gently away across dark water. There was the door of rarity, the thought that life itself may be one of the rarest things the universe ever makes, that the long chain of fortunate conditions and improbable leaps that led to you may have completed itself only a vanishing few times in all the cosmos. And if that is so, then you are not lonely in an empty universe. You are precious in it. You are among the rarest things that have ever existed, a piece of the cosmos that woke up and learned to wonder. There was the door of self-ending, the sobering thought that civilizations may tend to meet a barrier near the end of the long road, in the gap between their power and their wisdom, and that the silence may be woven from all the candles that were lit and went out. And yet we found, even there, a soft and steady comfort. That to see a danger is to begin to escape it, that the very fact of our wandering is itself a small lantern raised against the dark. And there was the door of being early, the gentlest thought of all, that the universe is young, that the great age of life and mind may lie ahead of us rather than behind, that the silence is not the quiet after a voice, but the quiet before one, that we may be among the very first to wake, in a cosmos still filling slowly with light. 3 doors, and here is the last and kindest thing to know about them. You do not have to choose. You never had to choose. We can lay all 3 of them down side by side and simply let them be. 3 beautiful possibilities resting together in the dark, none of them needing to win, none of them needing to be true tonight. The not knowing is not a failure. It is a wide and open space, large enough to lie down inside, soft enough to sleep in. Let the need to choose drift away from you now, the way the lanterns drift away across the water, growing smaller and dimmer until they are only the gentlest points of light, and then nothing at all. Because here is the truth we can carry home with us, the one that holds all 3 doors gently within it. The silence of the sky is not a frightening thing. It never was. We came to it expecting emptiness and found instead a question, and questions are not threats. They are invitations to wonder, and wonder is one of the most restful things a mind can do. The universe is not menacing. It is patient. It is not haunted so much as waiting, whether it is quiet because life is rare, or quiet because civilizations are fragile, or quiet because the morning of the cosmos has only just begun. In every case, the silence is something tender rather than something fearful. It is the silence of a vast house at night, with everyone in it sleeping, including you. So let the great questions grow distant now. They have waited for billions of years, and they will keep. Let the stars fade gently from your mind. Let the galaxies drift back into the dark. We are coming home now, all the way home, back from the cosmos to the room you are lying in. Feel the surface beneath you. Feel how completely it holds your weight, how it asks nothing of you, how it simply supports you, patient as the universe itself. Feel the blanket over you, its gentle weight, the small warmth that keeps close around your body. Feel the air of the room, cool and quiet, moving softly in and out of you with each slow breath. There is nothing you need to do now. There is nowhere you need to be. The day is finished. The journey is finished. You have traveled to the edge of everything and come safely back, and now there is only rest. Let your breath grow slower. Let it lengthen and soften, all on its own. You do not need to guide it. Just let it move. Notice how heavy your body has become, how your shoulders have softened, how your hands have grown still, how your legs rest, easy and unmoving, sinking a little deeper into the warmth with every breath. The darkness of the room is around you like something kind, not empty, not frightening, just soft and close and gentle, holding you the way the night holds the whole sleeping world. We traveled far tonight, you and I, out among the silent stars, through all the quiet possibilities, and back again. Thank you for wandering there with me. It was a gentle journey, and now it is done. If you would like, there will be other nights and other journeys, waiting quietly whenever you wish to return. But there is no need to think of that now. There is no need to think of anything now. Just rest. Your breath is slow. Your body is heavy. The room is warm and dark. The stars are still out there, burning softly, patient and far. You do not need to watch them. They will keep. Let your thoughts grow quiet now. Let them settle, like dust drifting slowly down through still water, gently, gently toward the floor. There is nothing left to hold. Let it all go soft. Let the dark be kind. You are safe. You are warm. You are held. Rest now. Sleep